if you want to talk about longevity, that's what's kept me in the space, is those two things, is the openness to error and the ability to change environment. And then what's going to help drive progress long-term is just staying in it. I mean, everyone kind of knows that inherently, but they don't really understand the nuances of compliance over time. Like one of the things, and if people have sort of followed you, on social media since you've been more active, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and seen or known you personally is probably a better vector for this. It's like seeing your ability to go like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. There's a point during COVID where you got a guitar. And I was like, oh, yeah. And I've been to the point now where it's just like, I don't know, what's he going to do next? Does he know? I don't think so. And it like keeps me interested. And then I'm like, I'm going to pick my guitar up again. But it's like, stuff like that. There's an intrinsic link to continual interest and compliance that comes outside of like, well, it just has to be enjoyable. It's like, really? Does it? Is that what it takes to do something long term? I think you hit the nail on the head earlier with like, no, it has to allow something. It has to be creative, and it has to allow for curiosity. And I think that's what drives consistency. That's what drives longevity. Like when you go like, oh, I'm going to see if I can do this thing, and like, I'm not going to film it in case I fuck it up first. It's like your ability to go through that discovery day in and day out, that's going to keep you in the gym way longer than like, well, she really likes to do the kettlebell swings. And it's like, trust me, that's going to fade. Because I know that. I sometimes think to myself when I drive to the gym, like, what am I doing today? Shoulders and arms. I was like, how many fucking shoulders and arms days I've done? Dude, yeah. Like, we could do the math on it. It's like how mundane a task that would be if that's what I was going into the gym for. But if it's a new gym with a different person, now it might not be the best shoulders and arms. There's going to be errors in the exercises, equipment availability. And, I'm not going to use the O word because I just detest it at this point in the conversations that stem off of it. But what is going to be a great takeaway is that it's going to pose those two criteria of evolution that are going to keep me coming back. It's going to pose for an inherent error, and it's going to pose for a change of environment. And I'm going to keep doing shoulders and arms with those two parameters present forever. And I think people look at the problem of consistency in our industry as just like, is it motivation or discipline? It's like, guys, really? Is this the level that we're having this conversation at? Right? This is how little we care about like the evolutionary biology of the human brain, that we're going to argue about David Goggins videos or, extrinsic motivation. It's like, no, it has to be more than that. And I think when you bring up a really good point about curiosity and creativity, really probably being the thing that has kept you in what of the mediums you partake in on a regular basis most interested, and people don't see the opportunities for them in the fitness space.
Yeah. I think I think it's unfortunate. I hope anybody who listens to this podcast, like, and when I say creative, like, you don't have to do the stuff that you see me do. That's not what I'm saying. Like, you don't need to do some impulse toe strap thing or some isometric neck exercise in the G. Like, that doesn't need to be what creativity is, because that wouldn't be creative, right? That would just be doing something crazy that you see some crazy person doing. But it's like, whatever it is that you're interested in when you go to the gym, like why ever it is that you go to the gym in the first place, like, be creative about how you accomplish that task. Even if it's hypertrophy, which I just think is a little too simplistic to think about. But if you're really into it, find a creative way to achieve it, right? Just don't bang out the same 3 exercises in the same order because some guy said so. It's like, figure out a different way. How can I gain this stimulus by doing something different? Just think about it a little bit differently. Like, if you understand the core competencies and first principles, whatever that thing is that you enjoy, you should easily be able to go in the gym and rewrite the way that you accomplish it, because you just know kind of the beats you got to hit. Like, I got to hit all these things and that accomplishes this goal at the end of the day. So like, go in and try and, accomplish it differently. And if you don't feel whatever inspired or motivated to do so, to be creative about it, you just want to go and check the boxes, I guess that's okay. Or maybe it's a good sign that you're just not super passionate about this thing too, and it's like, that's okay too. Like, you don't have to be as passionate about physical culture as I believe that I am. Maybe there's something else you're really passionate about, making sourdough or using an air fryer or a Ninja Creamy, whatever the thing is that you're super creative with, at least just be creative with something. I mean, you know, I think it would be unfortunate to go through life without, like you said, changing your environment, experiencing failure, deciding how to not experience that failure again. And then, you know, at least at the end of the day, doing something, you know, hours a day where at the end of that time you do it, you don't say to yourself, like, I was fucking sick. Like, that's the thing now is like the way I train, the minute my workout's over, I'm like, dude, it was fucking sick. But that thing I did, I want to watch a video of me doing it. I think it's cool. Sometimes I do shit, I don't know what it is. And I'm just like, the hell is this? Like, this felt hard. Why is it hard for no good reason? Like, is it trivial? Or is there like a novel stimulus here, right? So I think for me, you know, I kind of nowadays I just train until I hit that point where I'm like, nah, that was pretty cool. I can get the fuck out of here. You know, something happens in 15 minutes. I'm in there, I'm tossing a ball back and forth in my hands, and I'm like, that's pretty sick, and that's a workout for today. You know, and it's like, I think you need to get to that point with training, and if you're not at that point with training, like maybe you're not so gassed up on this as the rest of us.